Well, Mayor Mike, welcome back. Welcome back to America, first off.
Yes, the land of ice and snow.
Yes, because as Mayor Milky and I talked about last week, first off, Mayor Milky sends his best. However, he does say that you owe him money.
I apparently yes. So yeah, everybody probably knows I was family vacation in Egypt. Amazing stuff there. As a matter of fact, some of the mummies I think signed Mayor Milky's yearbook. I don't know how
Wow.
old he is exactly, but
Okay.
that's the word on the street. No, I'm
Okay.
kidding, of
Well,
course.
well, we'll confirm or deny that in a couple of weeks.
But yeah, so the pyramids and the temples and Jesus, it was an amazing trip. I mean, I'm still trying to digest all of it, and of course, trying to get caught up from the jet lag. We were, I think,
Yes.
14 hours in the air and a 6 hour layover, and then a 3.5 hour drive back from Chicago. So I'm still dragging a little bit, but
Well, first off, of course, some of that stuff does date back to Jesus, even before then.
right,
So
yeah,
yes,
much before
you're
that.
in the right neighborhood
Yeah,
there.
everything. I mean, these temples and the pyramids over 4,000 years old. To try and put that into perspective always amazes me because the United States is a very young country in the grand scheme of things globally. 250 years of history, that sort of thing, and to the it's the history is amazing. Almost everything that we saw was 100 BC to 2000 BC being built, and to see and be able to actually touch some of that history was pretty amazing.
So again, that's something that maybe residents are surprised at. Yes, you do get time off
I
in this job. You
I
do
hope so.
occasionally get to do things like this. So obviously, a trip like this is something that you come back from. You're kind of refreshed and you got a new
Mhm.
perspective on things,
You
right?
do, yeah. You need that time every once in a while to kind of recharge the batteries. And I did work while I was there. I mean, I still answer emails and things like that. So things went very well. We had Plan Commission last Monday. Just a couple of small things on the agenda and nothing of consequence. So all that went very well. We've got committee meetings tonight. Again, relatively quiet. We're approving the trivia parade, of course. Now that spring is in the air, or at least sort of in the air, maybe on the horizon.
Yes, on the horizon.
Trivia is coming up. World's largest trivia contest. This will be 51 years that the contest has been taken over our fair city, and 43 years for me playing. So that's pretty cool. And we're looking at hiring some of those positions that were approved last fall in the budget that had been eliminated over the years. One of them is they're going to be our city engineer. We're going to get a full-time city engineer back, so that's very helpful. Trying to contract out for those things gets challenging, so it's nice to get someone back on staff. We have a new emergency management coordinator, Jason Draham, who's also our airport manager. He's got some military experience. He's going to be taking over the duties of emergency management for the city, just to make sure that we're all prepared in the event of tornadoes or bad storms like we had last year, July, things like that. And of course, everything else is still moving right along.
Yeah, it's the first thing that you mentioned in there, the project for Delta Dental. I know it's something a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are excited about. They had just some procedural things. You say they're going through the channels right now, so it's not going to be too much longer before we see action there.
Right. Yeah, we should see a groundbreaking sometime in early 2020. They're looking at, of course, building a new headquarters, and we are happy to have them as part of our community, and especially proud that they chose to remain part of our community.
Yeah, and it's part of the community as well. Some of the things that we've talked about, you mentioned those positions that you're bringing back,
Mm-hmm.
emergency manager, a new emergency manager, city engineer, things like that. It's been talked about. Now you're finally going through the process. Just first off, on the engineer side, tell us what you're looking for.
Well, obviously, someone with an engineering degree and the proper certifications. They're going to work primarily with the city and, the street department and the utility department. We do engineering work all the time, and we do some of it in house to the best of our ability, but all that still has to be reviewed by someone who has certifications. So the job postings are online. Some of the other positions we brought back, another parks technician that was cut over the years, law enforcement officers, firefighters, all of those things that had been cut previously. With the recent growth that we've had over the last 5 years or so, we're able to finally add some of those positions back in. We are woefully understaffed on a lot of our departments, and we can provide all the information of other communities and recommendations to do that. I'm just happy that we're able to start getting some of those positions back. And of course, with the new year comes new challenges. You probably heard that the sheriff and I, who's also Sheriff Mike Lucas, we're calling it the Mic Drop Challenge, where we've both put on a few pounds since we've been sitting at our desk. So we tried to take some of that off, and that's going in full swing. We talked about ending it at the end of February, but we recently talked about just carrying it forward. There's been a lot of community support. We're getting a lot of feedback and ideas. Some people are joining in. So that was cool. We just had this past weekend on Saturday, we had the local food fair, and I was there. They have a bicycle that runs a blender.
Okay.
So you can bicycle and it runs the blender. So I was making smoothies for people, trying to stay fit.
It's trying to stay fit and keep that up. I know you were also involved in the Passport to Paradise, which was another record setter here. Just before you left for Egypt, and I know you were in some horse races and things like that. So you're really finding some unique ways to make this mic drop challenge work.
Well, and I just love being part of this community, and if there's something I can be involved in, helping raise money or awareness, I'm always there. So yeah, it's there's always something going on in this community. We had our firefighter explorer group had a fundraiser last Saturday at the Moose Lodge, trying to raise money for that. We've got the community theater is doing Barefoot in the Park this coming weekend. If you're interested, I would suggest that you get some tickets for that, because that's fun. Boy, the usual stuff is all going on. We have the observatory at the university and the planetarium. Those still have weekly programs. The Riverfront Arts Center is always having new things. Scarbocchio Museum, Q Gallery, those things are going on. And one thing that I think is pretty interesting, and maybe Mayor Milky will join in on this at some point, we have the new ice skating rink downtown. So the 16th, with a snow date of the 15th, we're going to be having something we're calling Polkas on Ice. It started out as a little Facebook saying, oh, we should do this. So we're actually putting it together, working with the Polish American Heritage Society. We've got the Market on Strongs is going to be making pierogies down there. I know Graffitis is joining in with some hot chocolate and maybe some Polish compote, fruit drink, warm things like that. So if you're interested in that, come on down to the square in Stevens Point on the 16th from about 11 to 2, I think we're running.
So I know you're still working some of the details of this off, but this is just really interesting to me, because obviously this is a great Polish community. You've got the heritage like that. So this is kind of a way that an inside joke almost is becoming a thing to help celebrate that here in the community.
It really is. A friend of mine's daughter, Lisa Perlock's daughter, and one of her friends did the chicken dance on the ice skating rink downtown, and she posted it on Facebook, and that's where the whole thing started, doing the chicken dance to the music. And then someone says, oh, we should do it with polkas, and we're like, yeah, let's make this happen. And before you knew it, people were coming together and saying, yeah, let's really do this. So we're going to have polka music on our radio station and doing some broadcasting. We tried to get an actual polka band, but apparently with the accordions, they don't do real well in cold weather because it's all a reed instrument, a wind type thing. And it's my understanding that it can damage the instruments. We certainly don't want to do that. So we won't have a live polka band, but we will be having our usual polka music on the radio, and we'll be broadcasting that downtown. Just another reason for people to get together and celebrate.
So just to be clear, is this going to be actually lacing up the ice skates and dancing on skates on the ice?
Not for me.
Not for you. Not for me either.
I can't dance and I can't skate. So putting the two together would just be an exercise in futility.
Right.
No, people I think will be doing that. It's a skating event. Don't feel you have to polka on the ice. But I think some people will be dancing and skating and having a good time.
So, and again, going to be some food, drinks served with this as well, adult and or otherwise.
Yeah, we're going to try and make it a cultural experience as much as we can, but don't expect a Culture Fest level event here. This is a few people that got together on Facebook and we're deciding to make something happen. So it's going to be fun. First year, I'm sure there'll be plenty of room for improvement, but if anybody wants to get involved, feel free to call my office.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point. If this is something that you're throwing together right now, it sounds like a great time. But once you people see this, I got a feeling that this is going to become kind of a winter thing down here in Stevens Point.
It might. If the community enjoys it, we're going to keep it going as much as we can.
Absolutely, and just another reason to get outside year-round down here in Stevens Point.
Right, there's always stuff to do in the whole central Wisconsin area. There's tons of winter activities. If you don't like the outside, we've got plenty of stuff to do inside too. The Natural History Museum at the university, between Playhouse Theater Group and Community Theater and the University Theater, we've got tons of things that you can do inside. Or if you want the outdoors, our winter sports facilities are all still very much open. They're rentable during some of the days of the week. Of course, on weekends they're open to the public, but if you want a private birthday party or something along those lines, you can rent the lodge and the facility for a couple hours during a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, whatever it happens to be, and you get the area all to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of outdoor events, it's never too early to start thinking about. We've already mentioned trivia. That's going to be coming up here in a few weeks or so. Riverfront Rendezvous is also going to be coming back, of course. Why would it go away? Of course,
right.
But you're already kind of in that mode as well, thinking about things.
We are. As a matter of fact, I was just talking with our Parks Director Dan Kramer late last week. We're in the process now of getting bids for the fireworks show, which is going to surely be another spectacular event. The community that stepped up and helped make our fireworks show a little bit better has really taken off. So we're doing really well there. Getting the vendors lined up. We're adding a couple of new vendors this year. Maybe a few of them are dropping off. And the entertainment's already lined up. You probably heard we got some of our headliners. Excuse me, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades is going to be playing. They're a great local group. Adam Gruhl and his family have always been very big supporters of the community. His mother, of course, instrumental in our cultural festival. His father, an awesome man. He's going to be getting ready to start tapping trees for maple syrup. And then we have a Prince tribute band and something called Gangsta Grass, which was a Levitt Amp band last year. It's an interesting show, so if you haven't seen it, check them out on YouTube, and we'll see you down at Riverfront Rendezvous.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to add then before we let you go?
I think we're doing pretty good. You know, Mayor Zach Vruwank, who you're going to be talking to very soon, he just got back from the cities conference in D.C., so he should have some pretty good stories for you too.
Why not throw him under the bus as well, right?
All right.